Hey guys! Alright, today we are going to be talking about how to find the area of quadrilaterals. Make sure you write down everything you see on the screen, and make sure you write down everything that I write down. Your objective for today, you will be able to calculate the area of quadrilaterals such as rectangles and parallelograms. Okay, remember the area is the amount of square units inside of a figure. And we learned with a triangle that the base is perpendicular to the height. So you're going to see that again with quadrilaterals. Now a quadrilateral is just a figure with four sides, and specifically in this video we are going to talk about rectangles, squares, parallelograms, and the rhombus. Alright, so these are probably pretty familiar to you. A rectangle is just a four-sided shape, and then every angle is going to be a right angle that measures 90 degrees. Now in a rectangle, opposite sides are parallel. That means the top and the bottom are parallel, and then the left and the right sides are parallel. Opposite sides are also congruent. That means this side is congruent to this side, and this side is congruent to this side. Now to find the area of a rectangle, we simply multiply base times height. Keep in mind that B stands for base, and the H stands for height. You've probably heard for a rectangle that area equals length times width. It means the exact same thing. So on this rectangle right here, this bottom side I could call the base, and then perpendicular to that would be this side, which is the height. Now for a square, that's a four-sided shape where every angle is a right angle, but all sides are congruent. That means this side is congruent to this side, it's congruent to this side, and congruent to that. So it has four equal sides. To find the area of a square, it's the same thing. Just multiply the base times the height. So on this square, we could say that the bottom is the base, and then whatever is perpendicular to that, which we could use this side right here, that's going to be the height. Alright, a parallelogram is a four-sided shape where opposite sides are parallel, so top and bottom are parallel, left and right are parallel, and opposite angles are congruent. So that means this angle would be congruent to this angle because it's the opposite, and this angle would be congruent to this angle because they are opposites. To find the area of a parallelogram, it's the exact same formula. Area equals base times height. So on a parallelogram, we know that this bottom here would be the base. Now the only thing for the height that's going to be a little bit different, it's not going to be this side right here. The height is going to be perpendicular to the base. So the height would have to go this way. Or you could have the height on the outside like you see right here. So the height can be inside or it can be outside of the parallelogram. You just have to keep in mind that the base and the height are perpendicular to one another. That means they form a right angle where they intersect. Now for a rhombus, that is another four-sided shape where opposite sides are parallel and opposite angles are congruent. Now on a rhombus, all sides are congruent. So that means all four of these sides measure the same. Now be very careful. The same formula is used for a rhombus. Area equals base times height. So if the bottom here is the base, that does not mean the height is going to be exactly the same because you might be thinking of a square. No, in a rhombus, remember, the height has to be perpendicular. The base and this side are not perpendicular. They do not make a right angle. So the height would be here. And that is not going to measure the same as the base. So don't let that trick you. Don't get it confused with a square. If you have a rhombus, your base and your height are not going to be exactly the same, but you will still just simply multiply base and height together to get the area. Alright, your steps. First you want to identify the parts. Second, you want to write down the formula. Third, you want to substitute the information into the formula. And finally, you want to solve. So let's do some examples together. Example 1, we have a rectangle right here. So let's identify our parts. It looks like our base equals 12.5 centimeters. And our height is going to equal 8 centimeters. So now we want to write the formula. Area equals base times height. So that means area equals that base of 12.5 times the height of 8. And I'm just putting that in parentheses just to keep them separated. So now I'm just going to multiply 12.5 times 8. We know 5 times 8 is 40. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 4 is 20. 1 times 8 is 8, plus 2 is 10. And I have one decimal place, so that means my area equals 100 centimeters squared. Alright, example 2. We have a square. That means this has 4 congruent sides. If this side measures 3.9, we know that this side will also measure 3.9 inches. So we have a base of 3.9, then we have a height of 3.9. So now that we've identified the parts, we want to write the formula. Area equals base times height. So area equals a base of 3.9, and then the height is going to be 3.9. So we just simply have 3.9 times 3.9. Alright, 9 times 9 is 81. 3 times 9 is 27. Plus 8 is 35. I have to put my 0. 9 times 3 is 27. 3 times 3 is 9. Plus 2 is 11. And then I'm just going to add everything together. I have 2 decimal places. So that means that my area equals 15.21 inches squared. Alright, example 3. We actually have a rhombus. That means all 4 of these sides are going to be congruent. But keep in mind that the base and the height are not going to be equal on a rhombus. So on this rhombus, it looks like we have a base of 10. And then as you can see here, our height is measured on the outside. So this height equals 7.1. So now that I've identified the parts, I just want to write the formula. Area equals base times height. So area equals a base of 10 times a height of 7.1. So now I'm just going to come over here and multiply that out. So I have 7.1 times 10. 1 times 0 is 0. 7 times 0 is 0. I put my 0 placeholder. 1 times 1 is 1. 7 times 1 is 7. And then I just add that together. I have one decimal place. So that means the area equals 71 miles squared. Alright, example 4. We've got a parallelogram. So we've got a base of 11.3, and then we've got this height of 9.5, because we see this height right here, and this is on the inside. Notice that this height is perpendicular to the base, just like you saw up here in example 3, height's perpendicular to the base. So now that we've identified base and height, we just write our formula. Area equals base times height. So area equals a base of 11.3 times a height of 9.5. And now I just want to multiply that out. So I'm going to have 11.3 times 9.5. 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 5 is 5, plus 1 is 6. And 1 times 5 is 5. Put a 0. 3 times 9 is 27. 1 times 9 is 9, plus 2 is 11. 1 times 9 is 9, plus 1 is 10. And then I'm just going to add everything together. I have 2 decimal places up top, so I will have 2 decimal places in my answer. So that means that my area equals 107.35 millimeters squared. Alright, example 5 says a sign that is shaped like a parallelogram has an area of 40.95 square feet. If the sign has a base of 5 feet, what is its height? Alright, so what I'm going to do is I am going to draw a picture. So I'm going to put a parallelogram in here. Let me try that again. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Alright, so I just put a parallelogram in here. Now it says that that parallelogram has an area of 40.95 square feet. So we know that the area equals 40.95 feet squared. It says the sign has a base of 5 feet. So base equals 5 feet. So that means right here on this parallelogram, that measures 5 feet. But what I want to know is, what is the height? I don't know the height of this parallelogram. So I've identified my parts. I'm just going to go ahead and write down the formula. So area equals base times height. That means that area of 40.95 equals the base of 5 times the height. And we don't know the height, so we just leave it as h. Now we just have a one-step equation. So I'm going to bring down my equal sign. H wants to be isolated, so I have to do the inverse of multiplying by 5, which means I divide by 5 on both sides. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so I'm literally left with 1h. Now over here, I've got to divide this out. So I am going to come down here and work that out. Remember, top dog goes in the house. Alright, I'm dividing by a whole number, so I just bring the decimal up. 5 goes into 40 8 times, with the remainder of 0. 5 goes into 9 1 time, with the remainder of 4. And then 5 goes into 45 9 times. So that means our height equals 8.19, and I'm going to rewrite that off to the side. So the height equals 8.19, and then our units were feet. Alright, now it's time for you to try. Make sure that you complete all 3 problems and show all of your work so that you can get full credit on your video notes. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next class day.